Hello and welcome everyone. Marcus Small here from thesmallman.com. I'm going to show you how to go about creating a VLOOKUP. Now, to create a VLOOKUP, what you have to first do is understand the syntax which sits behind it, which is simply going through a process where you put in variables into the formula. So the syntax is VLOOKUP, and then you open your bracket and you ask yourself the question, what am I looking up? So it's a reference, yeah? What is the reference point that you're looking up, which is a single value? And then the second part of the equation is, where does that reference live, or what range does it live in? So it's a range that we're after. And then the third part is, how many columns offset from that value there, from the reference point, and it is in the far left of your range, how many columns offset by do I have to count? Now, here's the trick. You've got to remember that this is the first column, yeah? So if our lookup key was in column 1, you have to include the 1. So the date key becomes column 2. So we say, in this example, let's say we're looking up this number, which we can find here, and we want to grab the sales key as our reference point, and we want to look up our sales amount. Well, I've put these numbers at the top to help us. It's the sales key is in the first column and the sales amount is in the sixth column. 1, 2, 3, all the way over to 6. So that is our offset amount, which is offset from the reference point. So it's just the amount of columns, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many you need. And then the last part is a Boolean reference where you're saying, do you want an exact match or an approximate match? Well, in this VLOOKUP, we're going to look for an exact match. In the next episode, or in the back part of this webinar, I'll show you how to do an approximate match. Yeah, so that's an exact match. Yeah, so that's just the syntax you've got to follow in order to get this $134.17 into this cell. And it's very handy if these are unique, because VLOOKUP will pick up the first instance in the range going from top to bottom that actually matches this. So VLOOKUP works best when it's a unique item that you're looking up. Yeah, it will return one value. If you wanted to consolidate multiple values, well, that's a different formula. You want to use sum ifs. Okay, let's go through and show the practicalities. So you can pick up this file on my website. All right, there's a link below. All right, so we'll type equals VLOOKUP, open bracket. What are we looking up? Well, we're looking up that value there in cell J3, comma. Now we go to the range part. Well, the range part can be this entire range here. Awesome. Press F4. That locks everything in. Type a comma. How many columns are we offset by? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the magic number. Comma. Now, it's a Boolean true or false. That's represented by 1 or 0. So you can type 1 or 0, or you can actually, physically type in false. Because it is, to get an exact match, we need a 0 or false. Yeah, so you'll see false in some people's formula. That's just a lot of typing. Just type the 0. It's just as difficult to explain to a layperson. So close your bracket and whooshka, we get the number that we're looking for. We can format that number if we want, so it's in the same sort of format. We might need to make this a little larger, but you can see the 134.17 comes neatly in. Now, the beauty of actually having the formula in place is now you can take any of these values. So let's say I wanted the value of this column to fly into that cell. The number might be a bit big, but copy, paste. Yes, it was. I thought so. And we'll make this nice and big. And there you go. You can pull any number in. So you can try it. Just start pulling the values through and you'll see the numbers in column 6 start coming through. So it's a very handy formula to get your head around, because it looks up a unique value and returns an offset certain amount of columns across. Now, let's say we wanted to return the date. Well, we just change the offset from 6 to 2. Yeah, so I might make this as a bit of a variable. So this is currently 6, and then inside the formula, instead of putting 6, we just put the reference to that cell. And then if we were to get the date where this key sale happened, we just change the 6 to a 2. So now it picks up the second column, looks up the date, picks up the second column, and gives us a date value. Now, we might need to change this back to a date. And there we go. So it happened on the 4th of April for this particular item down here. Yeah. Now, that was a bit problematic in that, you know, you're dealing with different data types, but I'm sure you get the concept. So that's VLOOKUP in a nutshell. Now I'll show you an approximate match using VLOOKUP. Now this isn't used as frequently, doesn't mean it's any less useful. It's fantastic if you can get your head around it, yeah? So I've created this sheet. Let me make this a little larger for you. Let me cancel that. All right. That's a little better. Okay, so I've got these students, yeah, and they've got this score in a particular test, and we want to turn this score into a numerical grade, into a grade, yeah. So we want to turn the numerical score into a grade. All right. So what we've got to do is we can use the approximate match in VLOOKUP. So let me take the syntax from here. So paste it here, and instead of it being an exact match, it's an approximate match. I'll just put approximate match. And what approximate match does is it puts things in bands, yeah? So you have the data in ascending order here. And what this will do is it puts these two into a band, which is from 0 to 39.999 recurring, yeah? So, and anything in that band goes back to here, yeah? Anything from 40 to 59.9 recurring goes back to here, and so on and so forth. It just goes down the list. And anything over 85, like if someone got, I know it's impossible, 150% in a test, it would just revert back to the A, yeah? So this number is infinity, so it's 85 to infinity, yeah? So we just go through the same process where we do a VLOOKUP. We say, okay, we want to look up 32. This is the range, so that's the range part. How many columns are we offset by? You take this column as the table, and this is the grade, so it's 1, 2. Remember, the trick with VLOOKUP is to remember that the first column in the table is the first column, and then you're offsetting. It's not offset by one column, it's 1, 2. Yeah, and once you get your head around that, gold. All right, so, and then the final part is an approximate match, which is not false or true this time, or 1 or 0, it is 1, yeah? So its approximate match is equal to 1. So let's put that formula into play. So this time we're going to be looking up more than one value because we've got a list, and this is where it becomes very handy. So we'll say equals VLOOKUP. What are we looking up? We're looking up to 32. Where does it live? So what's the range that that value lives in? Well, that's our range there from F3 to G7. Press F4 to lock it in. Type a comma. How many columns across do we go? 2. And it's an approximate match, and that's equal to true or 1. So you can write true, or 1's just easier. So I just always go with the easiest thing to do. And we press enter. Now I should be getting an E for the answer. Boom, get it? Now we just send it down. What do we get for 72? C falls between 60 and 75. That's correct. That's an approximate match with VLOOKUP. That's a fantastic tool in Excel. Get your head around it, practice it, and use it. All right, everybody. There's heaps of more tutorials on my website. Have a fantastic day.